Welcome to Pieces of the Puzzle for April 2026. I'm your host, Jana Henry Funderburk, and joining us this month is a painter, which is very exciting. I'm so glad to speak today with Steph Charaska. Steph, welcome to Pieces of the Puzzle.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so grateful to be included in this amazing group.
I think,
So
yeah, I think painting is one of those things that is such a fascinating career, and I think often we don't think about it as its own special track.
yep. It's one
Um,
of those weird scenic technologies that kind of gets hidden and forgotten about until the end before everybody opens the show and they go, "Oh, why is that still blonde wood up there? Somebody help us."
right.
Ah! And then everybody remembers that a scenic painter exists.
Oh yeah, that's right. We need
They're like,
that,
"Oh,
right?
we have a person for
Absolutely.
this."
Absolutely. Yeah, we joke that, scenic painters spend a lot of their life painting wood to look like wood.
Oh my
But in
gosh, so
fact,
much. And it's a
in
lot
fact,
of painting things black too, for
yes,
sure.
making
For
things go
sure.
away, right? Yeah, very cool.
Absolutely.
Um, Tell us a little bit about yourself and where you're from and how you got to be a painter.
Oh my gosh, the long journey. The long journey. So I grew up in the Chicagoland area. I went to a high school called Leiden High School. It's right outside of O'Hare Airport. And I caught that theater bug really early, really early. I was super involved with my theater guild. I was the president of the theater guild. And I was in high school the year that Beauty and the Beast became available for high
Ooh.
schools.
Oh
And
yeah.
we were one of the first high schools in Illinois to do Beauty and the Beast. So we painted a bunch of drops for that. This was my first time painting a drop ever. My tech director at the time, who I now realize is more of a scenic designer who did the tech director gig, um, he's just like did 4 or 5 drops in a high school. Um,
Crazy.
and I got to paint on a bunch of them,
Yeah.
and it kind of really tickled my passion. And I thought I wanted to be a technical director. I'm like, I want to be just like Chris. Chris has a pretty cool job. That seems pretty neat. And then I went to the Illinois High School Theater Festival, which
Yeah.
is like chef's kiss. If you are a part of a thespian group, go, 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 go. I did my round robin interviews. I got callbacks to a bunch of different colleges. It opened my eyes because I thought I was going in one direction. And then University of Illinois plopped down in front of me and they were like, "We want you to come to our school." And I'm like, "Okay, that sounds fun. Sure, sure, great." Um, so my freshman year, I was all like, I'm gonna be a technical director. I'm gonna be a technical director. And the scenic design advisor took me aside, was just like, honey, did you know that a tech director is basically the engineer of theater? And I'm like, I do not want to be a tech director. That is not for
Math.
me. Like, I do not want to be in charge of keeping people safe on large
Mhm.
pieces of scenery. That sounds scary. I will paint it to look like it's important and large and heavy instead. So I kind of got on the scenic designer, scenic artist track very early on. And I did a lot when I first started, like I graduated in 2009, which means I graduated after the bubble burst in 2008
Hmm.
and the market was absolute trash. And I kind of strung together my life. I started my first side gig that was like putting food on the table and making sure I had a roof over my head was working for Chicago Shakespeare in the box office, dealing with ticket sales
There you
and
go.
subscriptions and all that kind of stuff, which has given me a huge appreciation for everybody who works in all different shades of theater, where I'm just like, I have touched a gesture of everybody's job at this point in time. And I'm like, we all have the hardest job.
Hmm.
Everyone has the hardest job. It's a hard job to do, to work in a collaborative environment from nose to toes. It's
Team
hard.
sports, right?
Oh my
Like it
gosh,
takes
team sports
everybody.
of art. It is
It
the
takes
team
everybody to
sport.
make this thing happen.
Go
You
fight,
know?
win, baby.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Um, but I broke into like doing more scenic designs first because that's what the skill set I said I had coming out of college, and I was just trying to like string it together because I was getting paid $500 stipends to design and paint shows. It was bad. We
Yeah.
should never go back. Everybody deserves an hourly rate. Like, we don't even have to go there.
Mhm.
But I learned a lot about what I wanted to do, and the conversation that I liked the best was not the conversation between designer and director. That's not that's not where I was interested in the creative problem solving. It was the designer to scenic artist conversation where
Mhm.
we could talk in like weird, like, do you want to be like or more like in the corner?
Yeah.
And it works because you're working from a visual vocabulary which doesn't isn't always definable,
Mhm.
and sometimes it's just easier to do hand motions and make weird noises and get on the same page with your designer that way. It's like artists translating art instead of
Mhm.
directors making like huge sweeping things that affect a whole lot. I'm that's too many moving parts for me, too much ideation. Give me the real world. I want to make the fake, tiny little pictures that you give me into giant real world applications of things. I want to make it life sized.
Yeah. That's so
So,
cool.
yeah,
Um, yeah, so you realized, no, this is my lane, right?
this is my lane.
Yeah.
And then I got into shop jobs in Chicago. And
Yeah.
that's kind of where you work for a bunch of different theater companies, you work for a bunch of different opportunities. I got to do the Ralph Lauren windows in the Mag Mile in downtown Chicago, which was
Uh-huh.
pretty. That's a lot of painting mannequins, and that gets really creepy in a shop because you got to hang all the limbs individually. You look like a
Uh-huh.
murderer,
Uh-huh.
but but it's a really fun, weird experience for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Um,
I have a friend who was a props person, and then yeah, started doing window displays, and for
yeah,
years corporate window displays, just building these little window fantasy worlds. So,
absolutely.
yeah. Yeah.
It's all visual storytelling,
Uh-huh.
every
Yeah,
single part of it.
that's absolutely right.
So,
Um, and so what are you doing now?
well, now I am currently pet sitting in Oregon. Um,
Um, I love that. So you moved into the freelance
I am
realm.
very much
Yeah,
so in the
right.
freelancing scenic artist world. I operate as a freelance scenic artist and an on-site charge. And like the difference between a scenic charge artist and a scenic artist is a scenic charge artist has a whole lot more paperwork to think about. And they are the main communicator with the director. They are the main communicator with the production manager. They're managing a whole lot of labor and materials and lots of other moving parts, not
Hmm.
just slap and paint on a surface. Whereas
Hmm.
your scenic artist is slap and paint on a surface. A lot of it is priming and sanding and base coating. Like 15% of the scenic artist's job is painting the cool thing to be cool. A lot of it's prep and like, let me tape this out and measure this out and mark this
Uh-huh.
out and do the geometry and do the math and figure this how the workflow goes. And then you get to, if you set it up all right, you use 15% of your time to paint the
Go,
thing
go, and it
because you
works.
planned it so well. You planned it so well that you don't
Hmm.
even have to spend a lot of time painting on it, which is the scenic charge's goal is efficiency and making sure they're taking advantage of the time they have available.
Um, Talk a little bit about being a scenic charge and being in that leadership role for your team.
Being in leadership is a tough cookie. And no one really taught me how to do it. It was a
Hmm.
lot of trial by fire. Um, And when I first started in Chicago, when I had my first shop job in Chicago, I was manager. And a lot of what I was doing was bidding out things and like looking at a design and going, oh, okay. It's going to take me X amount of paint. It's going to take me X amount of time. It's going to take me X amount of people to complete this job in such and such a way. And I would turn those bids into my boss, and he would figure out how to make a profit. Um, so that's kind of the beginning of that, and just making sure managing workflow. And a lot of my workflow is based on lists. I love a list. I love a detail. I love something I can cross off and feel good
Mm-hmm.
about.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Color
like I
coded.
had exactly. Yes. I have neurodivergency bubbling up in here. So like I know that if it's not in front of my face, it's not going to get done in the right way. So my lists are usually this big on a wall with all of the things that I have to do.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's how my brain likes to digest the information. While I'm working on one project, I'm planning the workflow and the dry times and material runs for the next 6 projects while I'm
Mm-hmm.
working on that one project over here. So it's a lot of like hurry up and wait and hurry up and wait and make really good plans. And when those plans go to shit, you make more plans
Right.
and you pivot. Because the hard part about being a scenic charge is very much in the same way of being a props person and a props manager. You are the end of the line. You are the last people who touch the thing before it goes on stage. You are the last people to be in the space before you release the space to the actors and to the stage management staff. Um, so, and you usually have to work within the spaces and places that are available during a tech process. And sometimes the hours suck. Like, thankfully, it's going by the wayside, but like, it's never going to absolutely leave the industry on hold because time is such a precious resource. But like, I do overnight calls because I know no one's gonna walk on my paint. It's more
Mm-hmm.
frustrating for me to fix a mistake than it is for me to come in at absurd hour in the evening to paint a floor
Mm-hmm.
that I know that nobody's footprints are gonna fuck up because then I would have to do it again.
Right.
And that's saving me time and effort and like anxiety and all of that stuff. So it's the
Mm-hmm.
small sacrifices that you make. And since you're all the way at the end, if anything gets backed up in the first parts of that build process, you're boned.
Yeah.
You're boned. It's like something it is an easy in joke you can make with any scenic artist you meet ever. Just like,
Mhm.
man, doesn't it suck to get boned again? You're like, yep, totally does. Totally
Right.
does. And
Yeah.
like that's the hard part because like it is a collaborative process. You have to wait on other people to complete their job and hope that they completed it in the correct fashion in
Right.
order for you to take over on your job.
Mm-hmm. Um, yeah, and it does always seem like when that compression happens, right? It's you're the one that gets squished.
Yep.
So,
Like solidarity with our props people out there as well. Like they also get squished and their stuff gets cut faster than ours does any day
hmm
of the week. And
yeah,
like the turnaround times they have to deal with sometimes are absolutely ridiculous. Me,
yeah,
sometimes my dry times, I'm like, literally no one can be on this floor for the next 6 hours, and I will test your
right,
shoes for
right,
residue.
right. Um, yeah, I think, for all of the things that technologies we have, right? Really still paint takes time to dry.
Yeah.
Still does,
Yep.
you
It's
know?
it's one of the known universal things. And
Right.
like when you get into products that cure instead of dry,
Uh-huh.
whole different
Uh-huh.
ball game. Whole
Uh-huh.
different ball game. It gets a little
Absolutely.
ridiculous.
Absolutely, it does. I love that. I love that. Um, so one of the things in particular that I wanted to ask Steph about, because I am fascinated, this freelance life that you lead, right? Um, where do you live?
That's a really good question. Currently, I live in Oregon. I've been living without a lease since 2021, 2022-ish. And I have had the absolute fortune of building my network wide and deep from a very young age in my career. Because so many of my friends now have houses and apartments with
Hmm.
like guest rooms, and they are more than happy to have me come and stay and host me, which is just beyond kind of every single person who's just like, come stay at my house. I'm like, are you sure? And they're like, absolutely, come stay at my house. And I'm like, okay, sounds great. Let's go. And so I have a beautiful network of wonderful individuals who are willing to host me, and I get to not pay rent, which is huge. Like I would not be able to live the way I do now if I had a home base or a place that I rented where my stuff lived. Um, because that's like it's getting to be like a half of your income, and you
Hmm.
have to have a steady income. And the thing is about my kind of income and how I live my life, I don't have steady income. I get big old chunks of money because I work high intensity gigs or gigs that are higher paying for shorter amounts of time. And then I have big spaces in between. And one of the ways I keep the costs low to do that is doing things like pet sitting for people.
Yeah.
So I get to hang out with a lovely pup and a lovely cat around here somewhere. They're being very kind to me right now and not barking and uh, interrupting as of yet.
Oh,
But the
you
dog
literally said that the dog got up.
remains to be seen. They hear, they
Uh-huh.
hear.
Uh-huh. They
Um,
know.
but yeah, so I do that to keep my costs low.
Right.
And then it gives me the pleasure to think a little bit more creatively about the gigs I take too. One of the
Hmm.
gigs that I really enjoyed doing is working for a boudoir studio down in Kansas City, Missouri. They wanted to do a redecoration, repropping, re like invigoration of all of their scenery items and add some more scenery items to their collection. So I went down and helped them create 12 different new looks for their studio and a wire rigging system for their ceiling. So curtains and all
Uh-huh.
of their scenery stuff can hang and drape and have more access to the space. But like, since I'm a theater person, and since I have that scenic designer, events producer kind of brain on me, I can think about, okay, we want to load this in easily. We want to load this out easily. We want that to be under 25 minutes, ideally, changing over scenery in this. And these are
Right.
probably unskilled laborers who are doing this kind of thing. So you got to plan for the systems. So
Uh-huh.
somebody who doesn't know how to do anything can absolutely do it as well. Um, and also it gives me the opportunity to work with somebody who I went to college with, and this is her photography business. So she came up through the Illinois Theater School as well, and she has taken all of that experience and really poured it into boudoir photography in a beautiful way where you're like, of course a theater person should be doing
Hmm.
boudoir photography. That only makes sense. And it got
Storytelling. Right.
yes, it's storytelling. Who knew?
Hmm.
Who knew? Who knew? So it was like a
Yeah.
lovely little interchange there. And then it gives me the flexibility to say yes to go do something fun.
Hmm.
And I'm grateful that I have enough data in my history and enough lived experience in my history to know that the job is always coming.
Yeah.
It is one of the most anxiety wrecking things to see the bank account slowly tick down and see like the job prospects not quite lining up, and it's one of those things where I've had to put a lot of trust in the universe and be like, the jobs have always come. The jobs have always come. Like literally, I look back in my history and I see the jobs have always come. So I have a lot of data to do that. Had
Uh-huh.
I been younger and doing this, I would be flying by the seat of my pants. Like I'm gonna be 40 this year.
Hmm.
So I'm doing the whole nomadic thing after my brain is cooked and I have a little bit more handle on how to spend money and save money and buy savvy things and support myself as an adult human being.
Yeah.
Um, if I was doing this 10 years ago, 20 years ago, nope. Nope, 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 nope. I didn't have enough skill sets in order to like pawn myself off as a ringer.
Right.
Because
Yeah,
people hire me because they're
right,
in need of somebody who can travel on the go. And I love to be like, yes, I am available. Put me on the next plane. I hope you got a per diem for me.
right. I can show up and I can get the work done.
Yep,
Like that confidence that like whatever it is you're asking for, I have the skills to
absolutely.
deliver on that. So living out of a couple of suitcases, right?
Tough.
It is tough. Does it also rearrange your thinking about what is necessary, what is needed to get through life?
Yes, absolutely. I love fashion, and that is the hardest part of I love to be a snappy dresser. I love fun items. I love brightly colored things and like lots of different variety. It's hard because I have to really design my wardrobe to be a capsule wardrobe.
Mm.
I drive everywhere with my car for the most part. So like that's getting more expensive too. Gas prices, geez Louise. Oh
Uh-huh.
gosh. But I have a bunch of stuff in my car. So I have like my kit, my paint kit,
Hmm.
my paint clothes, my paint shoes. Like those are first things into the car. Um, the next thing I have is a kitchen box, and
Okay.
like this box is getting insane. I so one of my jobs it ended be my contract ended because a hurricane happened. So Hurricane Helene ended my contract early.
Yep.
So as a result, I have a little bit of PTSD from that where I just need to have like 2 months of food in my car at all points in time. And it's like dried rice and beans and
Sure.
lentils. Like I need to be able to like put nutrients into my body in a meaningful way for 2 months. And spices, because who wants to eat all of that stuff
Nobody
without
wants to
any
eat that without
spices? Oh
spices.
my God. Oof, oof. Um, so like I have a kitchen box that has a bunch of like easy meals and like if I go somewhere like a hostel or something, I could be like, here are my pancake supplies, pull these out of my box and go make myself some pancakes without having to go shopping or to 7-Eleven and get
Right.
stupid expensive things for no good reason because they don't even taste good.
Yeah.
Um, and then I have like basically two sets of clothes. I usually am able to get back to Wisconsin because that's where my like home base is. All of my stuff lives under my best friend's stairs. I'm very grateful for her. Um, so
That's a
usually
good
I have,
friend.
oh my God, she's the best friend in the world. I am like, thank you, Jenny. Love you. But I usually go there at least once or twice a year. So when I do go there, I change out my clothes for the season where
Hmm.
it's just like because all my summer stuff is over there and I thankfully have like stayed in cooler climes so my winter set of clothes have served me pretty well.
Uh-huh.
um but I definitely need to get back to Wisconsin probably in the next month and a half or so because I got to get all my summer stuff because I'm spending a lot of time in Southern California this upcoming year.
Yeah. Um, do you want to talk about that project?
Sure. Sure, I would. So, I am very excited. This is something I've been like fingers crossed, hoping and praying for the past, I don't know, 9 years. Um, I get to be on the install crew for the next Meow Wolf project happening in LA at the Howard Hughes LA Center, which I am very excited about. I'm like over the moon with all of the excitement I have. It's definitely one of those dream job moments where like I was grateful to get an interview. Like
Hmm.
I was grateful to get an interview to this place. And it was like a 6 month interview process, which is literally the longest interview process I have
Yeah.
ever been a part of. So
Um,
like it
real
was
real briefly, just in
yes.
case we have people listening, who maybe don't know what a meow wolf is.
Oh my God, yes.
Can we
What a meow wolf is
give the
a
abridged
meow wolf.
version? Yeah.
Okay. So Meow Wolf is maximalist immersive art in a larger space, contained in a larger space. So the way I like to describe it is if you want to go in and like look at some really cool things, and like enter into a world of just like, did I take drugs before I came here? No, I did not take drugs before I came here. My brain is doing weird things that makes me feel like I took drugs before I came here because it's just a warping of reality around you.
Hmm.
Um, and like you could do that for 2 hours and have a great time. For those who are theatrically minded, your brains will do this on its own. Because the first time I went into a Meow Wolf, I didn't really know what was going on. And my brain was just like, there's a narrative here. Did you know there's a narrative here? Look at this clue over here. Look at this clue over here. Look at this clue over here. They're pointing you in a direction. There's a
Yeah.
narrative here. And you can literally pull books off the bookcase and like look at this gal's journal, and the journal is relevant to what is happening in the story of what you have discovered thus far. It is maximalist, immersive art storytelling narrative. Um, and without any actors. Like there are occasionally people who like engage with you. I've seen like people who like do street magic and that kind of stuff
Uh,
engaging with folks, but they're like NPC characters. They're not, there's no main characters. It's you
it's
discovering
it's sort
the
of the
journey.
tourist as actor. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So it's really cool in that way. And it is a visual treat. There isn't, it's one of those places where if you've only seen like pictures online, you're like, oh, it's just one of those Instagram museums. It's just one of those like cool backdrops that people look cool in front of, which like serves purpose, man. Everybody needs a cool backdrop to be in front of. Like, who am I to harsh their flow? But like, there is more here than just a pretty picture.
Yeah. Very cool. So you're going to be working on this install team
I'm going to be working
on
on
this
this
new one.
install team. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm one of 10 locals who are a part of the team. And then it's mostly already built down in Santa Fe right now. I got to do a little walkthrough of the shop, and
Cool.
they've got some really cool stuff coming, and I can't tell you about any of it.
Hmm. Right? That's
Yep.
the coolest part. You're like, I already know what's going on and you're going to love it,
I'm
but I
like, oh
can't
my
tell you
God,
what it
it's gonna
is.
be so cool. And
Uh-huh.
like, I don't even know a mere percentage of what's happening at this point
Right.
in time because my job starts in late June.
Hmm.
Um, because it's one of those kinds of jobs. Like when it comes to theming things and that kind of stuff, you have to work with a lot of general contractors. You got to work with the electricians. You got to work with the plumbers before the artists can get in the space.
Absolutely.
So figuring out the timing of all of that is always a little bit tricky. And like there's a lot of times you're overlapping with like general contractor teams, which is always a fun group to rub elbows with. Like my favorite moments are like watching the drywall guys work, and I'm like, man, your seams disappeared instantly. And they're like, that brick isn't even real, man. You're painting fake brick right now. I can't even. So we're just doing definitely mutual appreciation
Uh-huh.
of the skill sets that we have because we know how hard our jobs are.
Yeah. That's really cool. That's a great way to think about that, you know. We work in the arts that are so closely aligned with the
The
trades.
trades, for sure.
So, yeah, that's really cool.
We're the summer camp of trades. And we're like the sports team of art.
I love it. We're all of those things. We are all of those things.
That's a t-shirt. We should do a
Yeah,
t-shirt.
we should. Yeah, we should.
The summer camp of
The summer
trades.
camp to the trades. Oh gosh, that really tickled me. And how long is this project gonna take for the install?
My contract goes till about late no late October, early November. So I'm thinking they might want to launch during Halloween, but like that's just a guess. Like I have no earthly idea. But
Yeah.
it's like a nice juicy 5 months that I get to spend in LA.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice. That's and it's nice to have a little longer gig, isn't it? Like where you're not like,
it is.
okay, this is for
It
3 weeks, but what's next? And yeah,
right.
a little
Like
breather.
for me, I hate staying anywhere longer than 3 months these years. These
Uh-huh.
days, that is. Um, because it like I there's just so much of the world to see.
Yeah.
And I would like to see as much of it as I can with the time I've got. Um, But it is nice to like land somewhere for a good a little bit where you're like not running around, not repacking the car for the billionth time. Like
Just a little breath.
I I have really designed my life to be on the go because I spent basically the entirety of my life up until my mid 30s in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
I love Chicago. Chicago's a wonderful place. And like, I used it as an incubator for far too long, and it was time
Yeah.
to leave. Like, I'm very grateful that, like, it sounds so crass to say this, but I'm grateful for the time that the pandemic gave me because it gave me a lot of time and space to like evaluate what I do want from my life. And like, I
Mm-hmm.
am going to be turning 40 this year. These are the things we think about. These are the like, what kind of impact do I want to have? What kind of legacy do I want to leave? And what work do I have to do now and start now in order to get to that legacy building thing in 20, 30, 40 years? Because
Right.
it's a huge time scale. And hopefully I get there. And there's no guarantee.
That's right. So you got to do it now, right?
Right.
I think that is important though, the like to take those moments when they come, right? And certainly like pandemic obviously did that for people. Um, to just like reevaluate. It is easy to stay where you are,
And getting like you're in
you
the
know?
flow, you're doing the thing,
And
you're catching the next show, it's
right,
doing the next thing, and then you
right.
don't realize you're in survival mode.
Yeah. Yeah. And that maybe there's yeah, something else to
There's
see
more.
and to try out there. So, it's exciting, I think, to just be a person who just did it, you know?
I love being a person. Like I look back on my life right now. There are sometimes I look in the mirror, I'm like, no fucking way. That's crazy. That's our life way. It's ridiculous. Like it's there are moments where I have to pinch myself, but like
Yeah.
also I have to remind myself that the only reason I was able to walk through the door for Meow Wolf is because I've been preparing for this since literally I was started working professionally when I was 18.
Yeah.
Like I was preparing for a cool opportunity. Like, and that's the thing. Like, I don't have any really hard and fast goals of people I want to work with in my career. There's no job that I'm going to get where I'm like, I finally made it. Woohoo! That's not the point of having a career in theater. Career in theater means you're dedicating your life to lifelong learning of new materials, of new skill sets, of new people, of how to manage people. Like it is saying yes to saying, I don't know for the rest of your career
Mm-hmm.
and getting comfortable with that because that makes people feel icky saying, I don't know.
Yeah.
And that uncertainty and getting comfortable with that uncomfortability and that uncertainty is literally the reason I am living the life I am living right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, some people look at my life like, so I had a crazy whirlwind of a year already. I took a random trip to Dublin because the prices were very good. Like, tickets were $430 round trip. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to Ireland. Sounds great. And I did that cheap on the super cheap. I did it on the super cheap.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I met a gentleman there and I charmed him so much that he said, come to Tokyo with me. And I said, yes. And had I not been living the kind of life that I've been living like this for
Mm-hmm.
the past how many ever years, like
Right.
I would not have had the bravery to say yes to that really fun, amazing, beautiful moment. Oh my gosh, like living in a rom-com. Hello. Um, and and the great thing is my friend group knows me, supports me, and that's another thing about living nomadically, especially if you are a solo female
Mm-hmm.
rocking through this world. I have the best group chat in the world. I have uh, people from all different time zones, people who are early birds and night owls among those time zones. Somebody in those time zones also has like my shared location at all points in time. And if I don't check in, these people will activate and find me because
Mm-hmm.
I am a solo female traveler. So, like, when I told my group that I was gonna go on this magical trip to Tokyo with this man I just met, um, all of them were like, "Oh my God, that sounds so amazing and so fun." Only one of them was just like, "What if he chops off your hands?" And I'm like, you know what? That's fair. Like,
Right.
but what I was able to do, because like it sounded like she was trying to yuck my yum, but that's
Mhm.
okay. Everybody has their own life experiences. What was able to help me check myself in that moment was, does she have what I want in life? If yes, I should take her advice and her criticisms. If no, I should not take her advice and criticisms. She does not. She is not currently living the style of life that I would want for myself. I love that
Mhm.
she has it for her, and it's super important that she does. But I don't want to do that. I don't want two kids. Thank you. No. 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 So I don't want that. So I don't, I'm not beholden to take that advice. I know that she loves me and would like me to stay in all of my unified glory and keep my hands.
Right.
Um, and that's so lovely of her to think.
I think there is that like the risk assessment part, right? You have to sort of go like, okay, what do I know? What do I not know? What,
Yep.
but ultimately, yeah, if you feel like this is a risk that you feel safe taking, then do it. So,
Absolutely. And it
um,
also helps that I am almost 40.
yep,
Like, I can see a red flag now. If I was 23 doing this, I hope to God my friends would have pinned me down and said, "You're not doing that. You're crazy, woman. What are you doing?" No.
yep.
But I'm
Um,
almost 40, so
yeah, I'm not a good one to ask. If there's like an international trip, I'm on. I'm going. Let's go. I went to Pakistan by myself. I mean,
I cannot wait to hear more of those
so,
stories.
yeah, I'm like, yeah, go.
Like, go, baby. Yes.
So as you travel,
Yeah.
um, one of the things that I love is following you on social media and seeing your photos that you post. The research, even just as you're moving around, right? The way that you see the world, as research for the next painting project or
Always.
whatever in the future.
Always.
That and
Absolutely.
yeah, talk a little bit about that filter that you have on your eyes as you move through the world.
So, this really comes out of never getting good enough research images from my scenic designers.
Hmm.
Like, cause like I came up in that technical revolution of theater makers and designers where like digital was becoming cool, and then we had to teach a bunch of old guys how to find something that had more than 38 pixels.
Hmm.
Um, and the Surfaces book is an amazing resource that only really works for so long because those pictures are itty bitty little pictures. So it's hard to paint off of those. So I would always, especially if I was working on a show with a lot of exterior textures or something like that, I would snap pictures because I'm walking around Chicago all the time
Hmm.
at this point in time in my career. They're like, oh, we want a realism underside of the L tracks. I'm like, you and everybody else this year, for crying out loud, why is this the thing? Let's talk about your rust profile then, pal. Um, and so like it was easier for me to start collecting a lot of these images for myself so I could pull them up into the designer and be like, what do you think about these? Do any of these strike your fancy?
Yeah.
Because then I know that's a big enough image that I can work off of, and he can, and that designer can be like, well, I like this part over here, and I like this part over here, and I like this part over here. Can you like, and like, I'm like, as long as I've got the visual information and the
Right.
visual communication, that's gonna help me do my job better.
Hmm.
Um, and it's just a habit I've picked up along the way. So my eyes are now like whatever you want to see more of in this world, just start looking for it. If you want to see more yellow VW bugs in your life, become more conscious of yellow VW bugs and you
Yeah.
won't see them. So like I became more conscious of weird gooey things in the corner that people are trying to actively avoid where I'm like, "Ooh, I love the way those oil colors are looking in that mystery water right there." Like
Hmm.
super nerdy. And it's just a wonderful way to absorb the world in a different perspective. Like
Hmm.
it gets me to slow down. It gets me to smell the roses. Dog. Um, and it gets me to smell the roses and like really visually take in the world and the information because like that's that's the coolest thing about scenic art. Like my job is to be the silent character. When you walk into a theater space and you're able to like there's no main drag to that you're looking at. It's not like a classic musical or anything. It's like one of those big open sets. You should understand so much from the scenery as it is in the
Mhm.
pre-let in the pre-show look. Like you should be able to tell what kind of class these people are, how much money they have, like can they hire a cleaner every year? Is the mom working 3 jobs and has 7 kids? Like you should be able to have all of that juicy context. Like you there was this one show that I did where it had like this old rickety trailer, like a double wide trailer situation on stage where basically it was like a cutout of it and basically the movement's happening and we can see everything that's happening inside. Um, one of the coolest things that I did was I went to one of the tech rehearsals and um, watched how the main actor was pacing in the space
Uh-huh.
and then wore out the carpet
Yeah.
exactly where he was pacing with a grinder, like really rough that stuff up because if you're in one of those trailers, you have dirt on your shoes. You're not really taking your shoes. You have to be super conscious about. And if you've been living there for 40 years, there is a bald spot in that carpet, I guarantee you, because
Uh-huh.
that's how you pace in that room.
Yeah.
There's so much juicy layered information that you can lay in as a scenic artist when you're given the time and given the resources to do so. Because I've worked on those shows where like, just get the color on the wall. We gotta go. The tickets are sold. Go, 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 go. And that's part of the industry and that's part of the biz. But like what I love is working those juicier moments where you the scenery is a silent character and you should catch the vibe
Yeah.
if you are visually literate.
Yeah. I love that. That subtlety in the work. Yeah. That's really cool.
But yeah, as a result of me like taking all of these pictures all the time, like anytime I travel with a friend who isn't a scenic artist, I'm like, hang on, this lichen over here looks really cool. I gotta take some pictures of that. Meow meow meow. And they I change the
Mhm.
way that they look at the world. And then they start sending me pictures of like gross sidewalks and cool bricks and all that kind of stuff where I'm like, I've changed the way that you view the world.
Yeah.
That's magical. That's
Yeah.
magical.
It is. Okay, I have to ask the follow-up question. How do you organize these photos? Please don't tell me they're just loose in your
I
photos.
they're not loose in my photos. I'm not a crazy person.
They're filed.
Um, Definitely not filed. Like there's some organization, as in they all live in the same folder together.
Okay.
Um, so like basically anytime I've taken a trip or like do a photo dump and I know that I have a backlog of photos, I go through and because it's really obvious which ones they are because they're gross looking and like they're mossy bricks and like weird stuff. So I go through and tag all of those, stick them all in one folder that I label surfaces.
Okay.
And so I scroll through that because like usually on the jobs I'm working on nowadays, I don't need them as a conversation piece anymore. It's
Yeah.
more of a these are the things I forage and
This is how I
collect.
see the
And
world.
like this is
Yeah.
this is like my little collection that I get to keep. And it's really nice because since I'm a nomad, I can't have things.
Right.
I I don't want to carry things. So I get to save it all digitally, where it's just like, ooh, look at this gross brick. Yum, 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 yum.
I love it. I love it. Um, let's talk about the digital world,
Oh, the
right?
digital
The
world.
digital world. You have a online presence
I do.
on the socials. Um, talk about how you are branding yourself and your organizations that you're a part of out there. Um,
So
and
I'm a content creator for the Guild of Scenic Artists.
mhm,
Um, And the way I got into doing that is I was just making content online myself. And they're like, and they came out to me and they're like, hey, do you want to get more involved in the guilds? Do you want to like do more and like learn more and like show us more of your process and all that kind of stuff? The sunshine is like
The sun has moved.
has moved. Um, so so yeah, I started creating content for them maybe 2, 3 years ago at this point in time. And like I got started making content was one of my pandemic projects because like if you guys want a good laugh, go to at char.darling on Instagram and give her a big scroll, like good long scroll. Get down to the 2020s, and you're going to see a lot of videos of me wiggling and pointing, inspiring you to be creative, baby. Because, like,
I think I saw videos of you from like 2 weeks ago wiggling and pointing.
well, the wiggles and the points don't go away. That's a tried and true thing. Um, but at this point in time, the aesthetics have changed a little bit.
Okay.
Um, whereas like I was uploading phrases in post that I was because I was pointing to air. It's a little silly goofy. But it was something that like so many people were having a hard time being artists in the pandemic, and I am a beam of sunshine when it
Hmm.
comes to like having creative kerfuffles. Like I'm just like, but why? Just reconnect to your creativity, and here's 3 ways how. And I'm like, I I believe no, we're getting very close to a soapbox that is very passionate of mine.
Great. Bring it home.
You don't know what you're asking for. Creativity is a human imperative. Like it is evolutionarily required to be where we are. And my biggest thing about creativity, the definition of creativity is like the ability to create, which is woefully incomplete. Um, so it's been my passion project to really dial down and find what creativity is, and it's the connection to authenticity and vulnerability
Hmm.
and curiosity. It's the cocktail of all those three. And anybody who strives to make you feel less creative probably has a profit reason that they're doing that. They're probably trying to sell you something because you've been creative from the jump.
Hmm.
I've seen baby kiddos come up with the most imaginative worlds and wild stories. That stuff gets conditioned out of us
Uh-huh.
because it's it's hard to control when you have a beautiful vivid imagination. So I want to inspire people to reconnect with their creativity in any way that they do. Because it's so important to living a happy and joyful life. And it helps you get comfortable with those uncomfy things because creativity is like 99% failure. Like
Yeah.
there's you will never succeed as a creative unless you are committed to failing and fail big. Like, why waste time?
Hmm.
Bomb harder. Like, make it really terrible. If it's gonna be bad, make it really bad. Make a real big stinker.
Yeah.
AI can't do that. Like, only human brains can really just make it bad in an awful way. Like, I've done improv before, and like when you're bombing in stand-up comedy too, like if you're bombing in stand-up or improv, it feels terrible. But doing that in on a canvas by yourself is a lot less stakes involved.
Sure.
Um, but I that was one of the main reasons I started getting more active on social media because I just
Hmm.
wanted to give people a little bit of hope and a little bit of creativity and a little bit of inspiration to make their lives a little bit happier because we were living through a dumpster fire of unknowns. And it's just like, but you can doodle.
Right.
Um and as a result, it just as I started working more and getting back into the theater and getting back into a creative like active space, I just wanted to show everybody what I was doing all the time because those creativity little videos helped so much. Where I'm just like, well, let me show you what I actually can do. And it's one of those things where I've always tried to show up with heart and with kindness. And like social media can be an absolute cesspool. Um, There is a foam additive sculpture video on Facebook on the Guild of Scenic Artists Facebook page. And holy jeez, it went viral because there were a bunch of people telling me I was a fucking idiot and here's all the reasons why. And it was comment after comment after comment after comment because it's additive sculpture. At that point in time, it does look terrible. Like it's blocky foam that I was turning into a tree eventually. So it was just like a bunch of stuff stuck together with great stuff. It looked terrible. Like it
Right.
did look terrible. Like no harm there.
Right.
But it's just like people got so angry so quick, and I'm grateful that that stuff didn't start happening to me until I was much older because I'm just like, thank you for the engagement, you haters. Like this is so much for the
Right.
algorithm. Like you're feeding the algorithm at this point in time. It's not about me. You know nothing about me. You know nothing about me. I
Hmm.
know about me. So thanks for the engagement. I'll see you on the flip side. But it's really just coming from a point of just I want to put more goodness into the world
Hmm.
because the world is a dumpster fire right now. And I'm a hopeful millennial to my core, and it's gonna get better. God damn it. Like, come hell or high water, it's gonna
Right.
get better. And we're gonna need creative people and people brave enough to embrace their creative spirits and their creative souls and do big inspirational things. And if living my life and showing off how I live my life on social media makes that an inspiration for other people, I feel like it's my duty then. Where it's just like, okay, I'll be your little torch in the light, like hair notwithstanding, but
Literally hair torch. Yeah.
like I'll be your little torch and I'll give you some inspiration just by staying in hostels and pet sitting across the country while I wait for my job to start in LA. Like if that's inspirational for you, yes, hold on to it with all you can because like what else you got, man? Joy is an important thing to sacrifice for.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that's really cool. And I think working with college students who so often say, oh, I'm just not creative. I'm just not creative.
It breaks my heart.
And it does break my heart because I think there is this misconception, right? That creativity is either in you or it's not. And
Correct.
it is this secret sauce that either exists or it doesn't. And
There
it's
is no
not,
secret sauce.
right?
There is no sauce.
Right. It's what you put into, it's what you put into it, right? If you're doing lots of research and reading about this period and asking lots of whys and how did they and why would they and you're feeding all of that into it, then you start going, oh, in all of these photos, I see this weird box in the wall. What is that weird box on the wall? You know, and
Why
then
is
that
this here?
right, and that gives insight into people and what they value and what they're doing and all of those kind of things. Like then you go like, oh, I understand. I'm gonna put a box on the wall. uh,
Yep,
that's where that
absolutely.
stuff comes from. It's and we can then reinterpret if we want, right? How big is the box or how little is the box or is that part of the story we're telling in this situation or whatever? We can make lots of other choices,
But you need the bones
and that's the
first.
creativity part,
Yeah.
right? But yeah, you have to give yourself something to stand on.
Yes.
And
Absolutely. For me, like it's the 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 reason I am so successful in my creativity and in my relationship with my creativity is because I work hard.
hmm
Like I I have a little bit of talent. Like I will say that I have a little bit of talent, but that has more to do with the fact that I was raised playing a musical instrument. I started playing cello when I was in third grade. I started playing percussion when I was in middle school. And my grandma had a kiln in her basement. So we did a lot of ceramics. Um, and she was my artsy grandma. So like I had exposure to a
hmm
lot of stuff early on. So that kind of helped me get a little bit further on that path.
Yeah.
But the only reason I am where I am today is because I worked really hard and I did some really tough things in the beginning of parts of my career. Some of those things, I have this really complicated thing that I'm processing right now where I'm just like, a lot of those fun jobs that I learned a lot at were also deeply traumatic jobs and deeply traumatizing jobs with asshole bosses who are very abusive. And also, I would not be the painter I am today had I not had those experiences. So I'm in the process of unweaving all of that complicated baggage, but
Mm-hmm.
like it was because I got back up
Yeah.
after every single hit. Where it's just like I'm a millennial. You will pry this career from my cold, dead hands. Like I was promised that I could have the life I wanted to lead. I am
Mm-hmm.
the first one of my generation in order to do this kind of thing. Like my mom couldn't get a credit card to begin with in her
Right.
early 20s. Like the fact that my grandmother had a deeply artistic life only after my grandfather died.
Mm-hmm.
I am the first one of both lines who is able to lead this bright star of a creative life. Like, I am going to be Auntie Steph for the rest of my life. I had a surgery to make that possible. I'm never having kids. I will always have ownership over what I'm doing with my life in a unique way that no one before me has ever done. So I have clawed my way to the career that I wanted and not let the heartache get me down, where it's just
Right.
like, and it is a collection of no's. Like the universe is supposed to give you a bunch of no's. So when the yeses come, they actually mean something.
Yeah.
Like you have to work hard in order to get things in life. And nothing has worked out the way I thought it would when I was graduating from college. I I would love to go back to 22-year-old Steph and be like, "Oh my gosh, girl, you would not believe. Like you couldn't even planned this kind of stuff happening to
Mm-hmm.
you because
Mm-hmm.
it was beyond your conception of
Right.
possible at that point in time." So
Right.
it's one of those hard things where like I feel like a lot of college kids these days are have very distinct ideas of how it should be exactly when they graduate.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard reckoning with that when it doesn't happen because it won't happen because
Right.
you don't have all the skill sets that you think you need because you're at that precarious moment of not knowing what you don't know yet. Like, I am humble and old enough to be like, I don't know shit. Like, I know a little bit about a
Mm-hmm.
lot of things, but for the most part, like, there's so much more information out there. I only know itsy bitsy little bitty
Right.
point of it.
And every time you go and here's a new thing I don't know anything about. And you just like
And it's spider webs in another direction.
it is not unlike a Meow Wolf experience where you open it and you go, there's a whole
Oh,
world inside of
oh
here.
man.
There's a whole other world and it's mine to explore,
Yes,
you know?
like staying curious in that and
Yeah.
not assuming that you know everything. Because like I I graduated at a time where I was terrified to disobey my managers because I thought I would get fired from my job instantly. Like I was definitely trained for that workforce where it's just like, great, I will wash that bucket until it's absolutely fucking spotless. Let me wash this bucket. Let me wash this brush. I'm so sorry I did it wrong the first time. Oh my gosh, I am the worst person in the world. Let me go wash that bucket again. So I was deeply desperate to prove myself
Mm-hmm.
for sure. So, like, staying hungry and working hard are literally the two biggest things. And those have nothing to do with, like, that's a mind game.
Yeah.
That's a grit, that's a determination. Assuming that you have all of the absolute necessary support you need in order to live your life at like a normal rate. Like
Mm-hmm.
if you if you have any other additional needs, it gets harder.
Sure.
But like it's hard work and getting up after you've been knocked down.
Mm-hmm.
And
But
it
if
sounds so reductively easy too.
but if you can do
It's
it,
not. Yeah.
the rewards are
And
infinite,
time. And
you know?
time. It
Yeah.
doesn't happen in the time frame that you ever think it will.
Yeah.
I like if I could go back and be like 18-year-old Steph, tell me what 40-year-old Steph life is going to be like. She wouldn't have. She'd be like, I don't know.
Yeah. But
Are we
that's
still
that's
doing
okay.
that theater thing?
Right? We don't have to know. We don't have to know.
We
It's
don't have to know. You
we
don't
just
have to
build as
know.
we go. So,
Take it off of yourself because like the universe will give you the opportunities that you're ready for.
yeah.
And like all you really have to do is say yes and stick to your guns and do the job till the end. And you'll get everything you want out of it. And sometimes it's not a paycheck, sometimes it's a really important lesson about the kinds of people you never want to work with again. But that's still
Still a
important and
lesson,
I
right?
would argue
Yeah.
incredibly more valuable to my mental health and
Yeah,
well-being.
absolutely. Well, Steph, I want to thank you so much for spending your time with us today. And
Oh my gosh, it's been a joy.
yes, this has been a fun chat, and I hope folks have learned a little bit about painting and also
Please, yes.
about forming the career in this art that is the career for you. The paths are, the reason we call this the pieces of the puzzle is you take it and you build it yourself, right? It's not a straight path, and it's not the
Never.
same for everybody. It's
Straight path.
I know. And it's not the same for everybody. It's
Yeah,
everybody comes to it from a different place and constructs it in a different way that works for them. So
absolutely.
thank you for sharing with us today. I appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. If people want to reach out to me
Oh
and
yeah.
like slip into my DMs, you can follow me on Instagram at char dot darling, or on TikTok at the char darling. I'm also on Facebook. You can look up my last name. I'm like the only Steph Charaska that exists. But if you have questions about scenic art in general or living a creative life or anything like that, like pick my brain, man. Like I love chatting about life and travel and nomad stuff and theatrical careers and the whole shebang. So get in touch.
All right. Thanks, Steph.
It's my pleasure.